Good morning, everyone. Hello. This is Krista Ritzkis with Simply Creating, and we are going to be starting our Technique Tuesday for this week, and we're going to talk about Distress Oxide inks. Now, we have had these in the catalog since, well, last September, and it's been really hard to get these in stock, and that's why I haven't done Technique Tuesday live on this product yet, because I wanted to make sure that there was enough stock for you to purchase if you were interested. I didn't want to show you something that you couldn't actually get. In fact, there's been, I think every single store around the globe has been having a hard time filling their orders for this product, just due to COVID stuff and all of those fun issues. And so we now have actually 10 Distress Oxide inks in stock as of yesterday, when I looked yesterday afternoon. And so, excuse me, these are the ones that are available right now, and then there's one that you can order, but it's got a delayed shipping notice on it, so it might hold up your order. But these are the ones. So we have Tattered Rose, Peacock Feathers, Peeled Paint, Picked Raspberry, Black Soot, Mustard Seed, Seedless Preserves, Candied Apple, and Abandoned Coral. And so we can play with these, and I'm so excited to show you a little bit about how to use these. I am learning myself, so I guess I'm not really an expert in this area. I'm going to put that disclaimer out there. I'm learning too, but I found some really cool techniques that you can do with these. And so we're going to start with just an introduction today. I'm going to explain a little bit about the difference between this ink and other inks that we carry, and teach you one fun new technique to do with them right off the bat. So what you need to have, obviously, the inks. We also have these really fun blending tools, and they come 2 in a pack along with 4 of these pads. So I actually have 4 of these tools because I don't love switching out the pads. They get really full of ink, as you're going to see in a minute, and they get pretty messy. And so some people actually have one for every color, one of these tools for every color. I don't have that, but these are the things that you're going to want. They although yes, we sell other sponge daubers and sponges, but these are create a really nice smooth sponging technique. Hi Joanne, good to have you on. They create a nice smooth image, or a sponging. They don't add texture very much. And they're easy to use, and the tool itself gives you a lot of control. And so that's why these are better to use with these inks. And actually you could use them with any inks, really. All right, so I'm going to set those aside. We're actually going to use these 3 here. So I'm going to pull these inks and put them off to the side. The other thing that you're going to want to have in order to use these inks is our messy mat, or what we call the official name is the all-purpose mat. It's the sticky backed mat, and things just wipe right off of it. It protects your surface because this is a messy project. These inks are messy, okay? So those are that's my little plug for this mat. I love it. I actually have 2. One I cut up into 4 so that I could use it for workshops and for smaller projects. The other thing you want is you're going to want some kind of a spray pen or spray bottle. You want to have your paper towel handy, dry piece of paper towel. And you want to have like a messy towel or maybe wet wipes. This one was stained and bleached, and so I commandeered it for my crafting. You're going to want that because this mat is going to get pretty messy. The other thing that I recommend is a little piece of scrap paper so that you can protect your fingers while you're working. And we also have this Distress Watercolor cardstock. Now this is a 4 by 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 size. We sell them in 8 by 10 or 8 1/2 by 11. But this is what I'm using today. You can also use our White Daisy cardstock, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you do that. But this one, you can do more with it. It's thicker and gives you more stuff. So I don't know if it's going to show on the camera, but there is a smooth side to this cardstock and a bumpy side, just like regular watercolor cardstock comes like that often. And I'm going to use the smooth side for my demo, but I created something with the bumpy side earlier. So those are some of the tools that you need in order to work with this product. couple of things. So what makes this ink different? First of all, it is not water-based. It is not just water-based, and it is not just pigment ink, which those are the other two kinds of ink that we sell in lots of colors. This is actually a mix of both of those. So it reacts to water when you do stuff with water, but it also takes longer to dry, which gives you more flexibility in what you can do with it, which is really cool because it just gives you, it doesn't dry fast, it doesn't sink into the paper right away, so you can move it around. Plus it reacts with water. So really fun stuff you can do with these. The colors, just like pigment ink, are brighter or more vibrant, deeper, depending on the shades. They're more color fast because there's pigment in it. And so that's it. I think these inks kind of have the best of both worlds when it comes to water-based or pigment. I think they do both. They just are great for that. Some people have asked, can you stamp with these? You can, but they don't stamp as nicely as the water-based ink. So just keep that in mind as well. The other thing that you're going to want to have, other than your all-purpose mat, obviously your inks, your foam blending tools, a spray bottle, your cardstock paper towel, is a heat gun. Okay, so that just speeds up the drying process, and there are times when you actually really want it to be fast, and so this is another tool that you're going to want to have at your disposal. All right, let's talk about the very first technique that we're going to do today. So I'm going to put this stuff aside because I just need this. Here is what we're going to make, but this is a slightly different shading. Here I used two of the same colors and then the peacock feathers, but I'm going to show you how to blend these inks onto cardstock. This is our white daisy. Okay, so that is one of the things, so I'll pull that in so you can see the difference after we get started. Now we're going to start with our lightest color, which for this one is Tattered Rose. And I've already used this, and so what you're going to do is ink it up. Now you don't want to go straight down, you want to hold your tool on a slight angle and come in from the side of the paper, and you're going to do in brush strokes. Now this is super important for the darker colors especially, is you want to use light pressure. And I'm got on the wrong side, I wanted to use the smooth side, but I'm going to show you what happens when you use darker or heavier pressure. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. If you go straight, and you're going to get circles, especially as you get into the darker colors, and you don't do, and those are harder to blend. You're going to get circle edges, and like you can see right here, those are harder to blend if you do it straight on. So we're going to start, and I'm going to flip it over. We're going to start on we're going to hold on a slight angle, and I'm going to come in from the side, and I'm going to start swirling. And I know this is the light color, it's kind of hard to see. And you'll see I'm getting it on my mat. With the lighter color, it's harder to see. But I want to show you, just like when we're doing inking and coloring of other things, like our markers even, you're going to be working with the lighter side first. When you watercolor, you work with the lightest first. That just makes the most sense. And it allows you the most control over what you're doing. Now, as I'm adding the color, I can go darker and I can add more pressure, and especially if I'm going over top of an area I've already inked. And especially with these lighter colors, you've got some play with what you can do, because again, they don't have as much of an impact. So I'm gonna do this whole corner here. Now I'm going to go over top or past the area where I would want to go into the next color, because that's what's great about this stuff. You just layer it and layer it and layer it, and you blend it on together. All right, so I'm going to go with my next color, and again I'm holding on a slight angle, and I'm going to come in from the side, already starting, and you'll see that I'm doing it really light. This takes some practice, and like I said, I am not an expert at these inks yet, and so I still make mistakes, and but I find that these inks they can be pretty forgivable if you don't yeah, if you're not happy with what it looks like, just add more ink and you can usually come up with something that does look really nice. So I'm just going to move it around a little bit. See, okay, so I was too flat. You see how that happened? I've got a kind of an outside circle there, and now I'm getting a little bit of edges. So again, on an angle, it's always good. And now I'm going to add a little bit more pressure so that I can get more ink out of here, but not a lot. I'm just still doing it fairly light. And like I said, I've done a sample that shows you the difference between the back side of this cardstock and the front. Okay, I'm going to pull my color down a little bit. Because I actually want this color to be my main color. I want it everywhere. Now what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to pull it up into the Tattered Rose. So this is Picked Raspberry that I'm using right now, this bright pink. So I'm going to overlay it a little bit on the, do you see how it's changing color? I love that about this. Now what I'm going to do is go back in with the Tattered Rose and overlap the two colors right there to make them blend better. And you'll see, and this does not ruin your sponge. You can still use it on the ink. It doesn't, you don't have to like wash it out or anything. So I store these sponges in actually a baseball card thing, protector. That's what I store them in. All right, so now what I'm going to do is go in with my Seedless Preserves, and you're going to see a real thing. Now this is where I'm going to take my little piece of scrap paper, because I'm going to protect my fingers and the work I just did on the bottom here by just laying it down on my paper so I can hold it without getting ink everywhere and fingerprints on what I just did. And yes, I learned that from someone else. And I also learned it the hard way because I actually had to redo pieces of one thing that I made a while ago when I was just learning and playing. I totally ruined one of my pieces of artwork by not doing this because I had fingerprints on it and I had to redo a section. That was a pain. So you'll see that as you layer the color, it gets deeper and more vibrant and brighter. And again, I'm pulling it up from the part that I didn't do, the blank, up into the pink, the Picked Raspberry that I'd already done. And you keep going back and adding more color and working with the different shades to get the color, the technique that you want. Now I'm going back to my Picked Raspberry, and I'm going to overlap the colors and move this up a little bit because I'm kind of in the way there. This ink is so fun, and it's not rocket science, and I think that, like, you know, you've seen my business name is Simply Creating, right? I'm not into the real technical and crazy stuff that I want easy, simple, and this is one of them. So I am now done. I'm going to set these aside. I want to put my foam tools somewhere where I'm not going to knock them over onto artwork. So I'm just laying stuff over here for a second. So you'll see how the colors just blended beautifully together. And now we have a mess on our pad. So I'm going to use a bit of, now the other thing you can do is you can actually spritz this, and you could pick this up. You could pick this ink up instead of just cleaning it up. You could pick it up, and that might be something that I show you in another video. It's very fun. All right, so now remember I said that it reacts with water. So what we're going to do is we're going to spritz this with water, and you're going to watch the magic happen. Let me make sure it's on screen. And so with spray bottles, usually. I don't know what spray bottle you'll be using. The closer you hold it, the bigger the splotch is. The farther away you hold it, the smaller. So I'm going to kind of do both. So I'm off camera, I know, but I'm going to do one little spritz like this, and then I'm going to come in closer. Oh, that's a really big one. So that's okay. We'll work with it. Ha, see? The other thing that people recommended is putting some water in your hand and flicking it. So you get nice big drops on it. All right, you see what's happening there? Now, what I'm going to do is, this is actually going to create a really cool look with this one here. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to heat set it to make it go a little faster. The longer you leave the water on your paper, the more it reacts. So I'm just going to heat set it a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is take my piece of paper towel and dab it. I'm going to take some off. And I'm actually going to just do a quick wipe here so I don't get my paper wet where I don't want it to be wet. And then we're going to heat set it some more. So can you see how the water reacted and basically removed the ink from those spots? And the longer it sits on here, the more it will react. The more the ink gets pulled away from the paper. That's probably the best way. Now you'll see it's kind of curling, so I kind of go on the back a little bit. Those are my samples from earlier. And I have to say, this heat gun that we now sell is a Ranger heat tool, and it's better than our old one. I really like it. It's not as loud, it's hotter, it doesn't blow as much, and I think it's even better for embossing because it doesn't blow the embossing powder around very much. I really like it. Alright, now I can touch this and I'm not getting, it's dry, and we're ready to work with it. Lots of things you can do with this, and I'm going to show you one of the cards that I made using the other side so you can see the difference. Again, so here is our White Daisy cardstock. You can use White Daisy cardstock for things like this if you're not going to add a lot of water. If you're going to do a lot of water stuff, do not use the White Daisy cardstock. You need to use the watercolor. This stuff will pill up. It's not meant to have lots and lots of liquid on it, and so just keep that in mind. You're going to want to buy this watercolor cardstock if you are all interested in doing a lot of watery type stuff, and there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with this. So let me pull in my card I made. This is my card, and all I did was use the Thanks thin cut, the Thanks that we sell in our core catalog and had for a long time. Sorry, I have it over here, I can't pick it up. There we go. So this is the die cut I used, the thin cut. This is for the white, and for the holographic paper, which is what I gotta show ya. Look at this. Isn't that fun? It totally brings out the colors in the inks, and that's what's so fun about this. And then I just popped the whole thing up. I don't know if you can see the pearl paper. So I didn't just use regular white cardstock. I used our pearl paper to do the background, and let me show you what that looks like. Can you see that shimmer and shine? That is pearl paper, and obviously our regular cardstock is like this. Okay, can you see the difference? This is very matte. This has a beautiful shine, and this is Majestic holographic paper. Okay, so it's more purpley pink. It has a bit of blue in there depending on what you put it up against. So it will catch the blue from the paper that I have underneath of it right now. And all I did then was add a few white dots, and I have this beautiful thank you card. And that's all it took. Just using the Distress Oxide inks and blending it in. You'll see I used the same colors. This one didn't have as many big blotches, but but here's some really fun ways to add technique and stuff. You could even just do it without the water and without the spritzing and just rub it in and create these beautiful backgrounds. You can use a stencil, which I will probably show you in for a future Technique Tuesday, and we're going to spend some time talking about Distress Oxide inks and what we can do with them to create beautiful cards and layouts. And I'm going to show you some stuff that I've done and how to use some of the other products that we sell along with these. So again, what do you need in order to use Distress Oxide inks? I highly recommend the all-purpose mat. You're going to need a heat tool. You will want these mini blending tools along with some extra foam sponges, foam, I don't know what they're called, blending tool foam pieces. You're going to want those. You need a spray bottle or a spray pen of some kind. I'm not sure if we sell these anymore. I don't think we do, but you can find little spray bottles anywhere. So you're going to want some of that stuff, as well as the Distress watercolor cardstock. All right. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day or whenever you're watching this on replay. And I hope that you'll share with me what you create with your Distress Oxide inks. All right, happy creating. Have a great day. Bye.